How to solve a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. In order to pass your elective mathematics WASI paper, you're going to have to know how to solve a quadratic equation. Quadratic equations are the basis for a lot of the mathematical functions and formulas that you're going to be using later in your elective mathematics journey. There are four main ways to solve a quadratic equation, but by far the best one, the quadratic formula. If you know the quadratic formula, you can solve any type of quadratic equation that comes your way. Here's how to solve it. The quadratic formula is x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square roots of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Your questions are going to be given in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. If you go back to our equation, you'll find that we have a, b, and c in the equation. What this means is that the number next to the x squared is going to be your a, the number next to the x is going to be your b, and the number with no x next to it will be your c. Let me show you what that means. As you can see in this question, you have one number with the x squared, one with just the x, and one number standing alone. So like I said, the number with the x squared will become your a, so here 2 is our a. The number with just the x will become our b, so our b is also 2. The number standing alone without any variable next to it, that will become our c. After plugging all of the numbers into the equation, it should look something like this. I used yellow so you can tell apart all the a's, I used green for all the b's, and I used blue for all the c's. As you can see here, for a, I put 2, for b, I put negative 2, and for c, I put negative 24. Something to remember, always add the negatives. The negative is part of the number. This is not a minus sign, it's a negative sign. If you see this, add it to the number. So everywhere that says b, you're also going to put the negative with it because it is part of the number. Another thing to notice, this negative sign is from the equation. It says negative b, but the b is already negative. So you're going to keep the negative sign from the b and also use this. Negative plus negative will give you a positive. Just make sure to keep that in mind that even if it's negative, you're still going to put the negative sign for the b. And this is what your equation should look like so far. Also, everywhere you see parentheses, here there's no sign over there, they just wrote AC. Over here too, they just put 2a. That means multiplication. If there's no sign or there's no thing to tell you what to do, always multiply. Those are the rules for this equation. And for all equations, if there's no sign, always multiply. After solving this equation, you should have this, and let me show you how. Negative times negative will cancel out each other, so you'll be left with just 2. The 2 will come down here. This positive and negative sign we'll be getting rid of, but since we're not there yet, we will also bring it down here. Negative 2 squared. The negative always cancels negative, so we just solve it as 2 squared. And you all know that 2 squared is 4, so it will also come down here. We'll keep the square root sign from this equation. Now you have this. If you punch into the calculator negative 4 times 2 times negative 24, it will give you 192. But if you don't have a calculator, we can also solve it manually. 2 times negative 24 will give you negative 48. Negative 48 times negative 4 will give you 192, and that's because the negative will always cancel the negative and leave you with a positive number. That's how we got here. Now, 2 times 2 is 4, and that will just be your denominator over here. After that, you're going to add 4 plus 192, and it should give you 196. So you bring the whole entire equation, but replace this with 196. That should give you this. 2 plus or minus 100, the square root of 196 over 4. If you solve for the square root of 196, it should give you 14. To solve this, you can just punch it into your calculator. Now that we have the square root of this, and the rest is easily simplifiable, we can finally divide this sign into 2. So the equation will become 2 plus 14 over 4, and 2 minus 14 over 4. After solving this, you should add 2 plus 14, that will give you 16 over 4, and 2 minus 14 will give you negative 12 over 4. So now you have this. Now you'll solve this just like you'll solve any other fractions, and when you're done, you'll find your answer to be 4 and negative 3. This is how you can solve any other quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. Thank you so much for watching, and like and subscribe for more videos like this to help you pass your WASI.